Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday. It's so nice to get to be here with you. Welcome to my meditation space. I'm Kaylin. If we haven't met before, it's nice to meet you. I set aside this time every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for anyone who wants to gather with me to do a little bit of meditation, a little bit of philosophical work, a little bit of spiritual work, and kind of just reconsider what they're doing, how they're doing it, why, and so on. So thank you for taking time out of your busy life to be here. It is an honor to get to share some time and space with you. So tonight, I thought we would explore a little bit the idea of choosing your own way. I think all of us experience a sense of doing things, thank you, so glad you're here, doing things that society tells us we should do. Or we grew up in a family that said you need to follow this path, or you went to a school or a degree program and they said you had to follow steps A, B, and C to get to where you want to go. And definitely respecting the advice of other people can be beneficial, and paying attention to the perceptions that culture gives us and society gives us of the direction we should be heading and who we should be. Those things are good. But what we really want to be able to do is choose for ourselves. We want to be able to say, I'm choosing the path that feels right for my spirit, that feels right for me, and I'm going to try and let go of the things that I'm told I have to do, but don't feel like they're really integral to me and my journey. So that's kind of our theme for tonight, is finding our own way, finding a life that is resonant with our heart. A life that is based on what's called intrinsic values, things that bring us joy because they're aligned with us. Rather, extrinsic values, which are values that other people tell us should matter to us. So please grab a comfortable way of sitting or laying down. If you want to sit in a chair or on a couch, you can. If you want to sit on the floor like I'm doing, you may. If you'd rather lay down somewhere, that's fine as well. Please get comfortable. If you want to take your shirt off like I'm doing, feel free. And let's just start today by taking a couple really deep, full belly breaths, shall we? So, and every inhale, just feel yourself breathing a little bit more deeply. Every exhale, allow the breath out to be a release, a letting go. If you have any tension in your body, in your neck, in your shoulders, in your back, wherever, feel free to do what you need to do to help yourself relax a little bit more. And then we're going to do something that may seem a little bit silly, but I want you to just keep your lips closed and go and feel the vibrations that happen in your face as you do that. And notice, if you can, how the vibrations aren't just here, but they actually resonate through your whole body. And notice, how does that make you feel? These techniques that we learn in our meditation practice should be transformative. They should change our experience, our state of being, and give us a more deeper, rich, buzzy state. Now, as we approach this idea of choosing our own way, I think it's important we really start with the deconstruction of the ways that have been given to us that aren't necessarily our own. So we're going to do a flushing exercise as a way to really just help flush out things that we're carrying that maybe aren't ours. They're stuff that other people gave us. So I want you to inhale, I want you to visualize you pulling down bright, cleansing, clear light, filling your torso with it. And then as you exhale, I want you to imagine that sludge or gunk or the kind of stuff stuck at the bottom of the drain it's getting exhaled, pulled out of you. It can go straight down and into the floor. It can travel down and out of your arms and fingertips into the floor. But every inhale, we're inhaling purifying light. Every exhale, we're exhaling gunk, sludge, smoke if you'd like, whatever it is. You can even silently say to yourself, I'm inhaling cleansing energy, I am exhaling restriction, or something of those lines. You certainly do not need to do the hand gesture I'm doing, but if that's helpful for you, you may. You can do that as long as you want, as much as you want. Now, in order to know what sort of way we should be walking, what sort of path we should be following, it's really beneficial to be in touch with your heart. So in Western culture, we tend to think of ourselves as existing up here in our brains, in our heads. But for a lot of other cultures, both around the world in the present moment and historically, they have said the seat of consciousness is actually in the heart. That that's where we exist. And interestingly enough, a lot of research is now showing that there are more neural pathways and neural connections that actually exist in the heart than scientists ever realized were there. But even go back in time, the Egyptians would embalm the heart as being a sacred organ, and meanwhile would flush the drain out of the nose when they were mummifying a person and threw it away. So we're going to bring our focus down to our heart because we need to be in touch with this space in order to know what are we feeling, what do we want, where are we going. We need to be settled within ourselves. So I'm going to place one or both of my hands on my breast, on my chest, over the center of my chest at the heart center. And I'm going to invite my mind's eye to sink down out of my head and into the chest. I'm going to invite myself to settle here. And notice what happens when you send your focus here. Today I'm experiencing a sense of lightness, a sense of joy, a sense of bubbles. But your experience might be totally different. Maybe you feel something, maybe you don't. You might even feel heaviness here as you connect with the heart. Whatever you feel is okay. Root your focus down in the chest. And as you bring your awareness here, just notice, how am I feeling? How am I doing? My experience of myself, of my life, might be quite different when we root here rather than up here. And so when we become very comfortable with keeping our focus in the chest, one of the things we can do is we can check in and say, how does this make me feel? How does this choice, this situation, this moment sit with me? When I root myself here, what is the physiological, the bodily response I feel? What is the emotional response? What's the energetic response? And sometimes you'll think of a situation or a person or a choice, an opportunity, and you'll feel expansiveness. You might feel a sense of opening, a sense of radiance. Sometimes you'll ask about it and focus here, and you'll feel a sense of contraction, a sense of heaviness. And the heart is a good place to do this, but you might also experience it in your belly. This past week, we had a situation where we made a choice that we thought would be a good one. And as we moved forward with that choice, I started to get really strong discomfort in my gut. And there's a lot of thinking that happens in the gut as well, a lot of processing that happens here. And so as we continued on, and I just still felt that kind of unease here in my belly. I started to talk about this choice. I started to say, maybe we did the wrong thing. Let's reconsider this. Is this the best way forward? And ultimately we decided no, it wasn't. And when we made that decision, the sense of buoyancy returned, the sense of lightness, joy, expansiveness returned. And even though logically I didn't think there was much wrong, I felt it in my body. And so that's what we're trying to cultivate now, is a tuning in to ourselves, to have a better, deeper, richer understanding of how am I responding to these choices I'm making, these opportunities. And are they making me feel full and rich and joyful, or are they making me feel depleted, contracted? Whatever, just notice for you, whatever it is you're experiencing. So if you have some major life choices coming up about schooling, job situations, family, should I date this person or not? Should I be in this relationship? Should I move to this house? Should I move across the country to another country? You can ask that as you keep your focus deep within and start to notice, okay, how do I feel? How do I bodily feel when I ask that question? What response comes up within me? And maybe you'll have a strong response. Maybe you won't. And sometimes we have to ask multiple times or multiple ways or at different points in the day or in the week. So for example, me and my husband just spent the afternoon condo hunting because we're moving back into Washington, D.C. And so I could say, okay, we looked at 3 places that we're going to consider. So let's say, okay, house number 1, a really cool converted school. How do we feel about that? Okay, I feel a little tight. I feel a little unease about it, right? It's beautiful space, but probably not exactly where we want to be geographically. Option 2, a beautiful high-rise building. Oh, it's pretty, but I feel something on my back, right? Like I feel a tenseness, right? Like I don't think we'll fit in it. Option 3, the condo in Chinatown. Yeah, I like that feeling. It feels kind of buoyant. It feels a little bubbly. I feel a sense of excitement in my body when I think of that. It feels good. And it's important to pay attention to these physiological responses. Hey, hi from DC. I'll be your neighbor again soon. Physiological responses, because our brains will come up with so many scenarios for both yes and for no. Right? We'll say, oh, but this building has A, B, and C, and D that are wrong, and E, F, and G that are right, and maybe it could be this and it could be that, and it can be so overwhelming. And here's the important thing to remember about our brains is only a tiny fraction of our brain is connected to the verbal parts, the parts that are able to translate thought into words, into speech. The vast majority of the processing that our brains do is unable to put words to the feelings. And so that which we often call the subconscious, which does the bulk of the processing, sends us messages through bodily sensation, not through words. And so when we rely fully on logic, we're only using that small, like 20% of our processing power. But when we pay attention to the physiological response and paying attention to the things that the subconscious knows but doesn't necessarily tell us, what some people call intuition, we start to get a bigger response because it notices tiny little details that are beyond the scope of our conscious awareness. And so when we're contemplating choosing our own way, choosing our own path, oh, I'm so glad, Toby, thank you for sharing. When we contemplate that, we have to get past our mental programming, because the words that come, the ideas that form in our conscious mind are shaped by circumstances, they're shaped by people, they're shaped by upbringing, family, our environment. And that is useful information, but it may not lead you to your happiest life. Like if I followed all the programming that I was given by my environment, I'd be in a relationship with a woman, probably not the best decision for me. I'd probably be pursuing a career in the arts, not because it's what made me happy, but it was what I was told I needed to do. I'd probably be living in a different city. I'd probably be pursuing a lot of things that are not integral to me, but I was told I needed to do. But when instead we can start tapping into this more visceral response, what is our gut saying? What is our heart saying? What is our body saying? We can start to choose differently. And for me, that has been one of the biggest gifts of meditation, is getting that space, getting that clarity to make different choices. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to live the life that my mother planned for me, or my father, or my second grade school teacher, because they are not living my life. At the end of my life, their opinions really don't matter. I need to choose a life and a way of living that is integral to me, that makes me feel filled with life and joy and beauty and excitement. And sometimes it means choosing things that nobody else would understand. Oftentimes it means choosing things that society says is taboo or wrong. But it brings me joy. It brings me fulfillment. It brings me satisfaction. And so join me, take another few deep belly breaths. And pay attention to the flow of not only the air, but the life force that comes in with the air. Pulling it into your body, releasing it from your body. Inhale, pulling down. Exhale, lifting up. And you can think of it coming down your front and exhaling up the back. And you can just ask yourself a question and see how your body responds. So right then, right before I smiled, I asked my body the question of, how do you like being in a relationship with your husband? And I feel myself just grin from ear to ear and my heart light up. How does it feel to be moving back into DC? Yeah, I felt like a little party inside. I felt like doing this. How does it feel to be running these Sunday evening meditation classes here on YouTube? I feel a sense of gratitude. becoming more aware of our physiological response, we're able to choose more keenly. We're able to choose better with greater acumen. Breaking down the paradigms that life has given us, the rule book, throwing it out the window, is a very challenging thing to do. And most people won't do it. Most people will live their life in the way that society and their families taught them. So to be given the gift of an examined life, a chosen life, rather than an inherited life, is a tremendous gift. And I applaud you, for those of you who are still watching this at this point and still with me, I applaud you for exploring this venture together. Because it's not easy. It's often a lot easier to just be unaware of how we feel and to just go with what is expected of us. But the thing is, those people who do are rarely ever happy. They're rarely ever fulfilled. And they will generally reach a point in life where they look back and say, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? What have I sacrificed without even realizing it? And eventually you're coming to realize that what they paid was their own soul. So kudos to you for doing the hard work. You are going to be okay. You are going to be well. I promise you. All is well. All has been well. And all will be well. And I encourage you to remember this, that if you're at a choosing moment in your life, a moment where you have to make a big decision, and you feel overwhelmed by the profundity of this moment, a feeling of having to choose correctly, remember that there are very few choices in life that cannot be reversed. And so most of the time, a choice we make can be mitigated if you find down the road it wasn't the choice you wanted. So have patience with yourself. Have joy with yourself. And have courage. Because that's what you deserve. Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace. Observe your breath. Observe how are you doing? How are you feeling? Do you feel like you have any more clarity after this session today than when you came in? Do you feel a little bit more empowered to take a choice that is maybe less conventional, but is more impactful to you? So Robert, you just asked a question about staying motivated when you feel like you're 55 years around the sun or feeling futile. I hear that, brother. I hear that. First and foremost, and this is something I say to everybody who works with me, is please, please, please make sure you're doing what you need to do to take care of your mental health. I spent too many years living in a meditation community where people acted as if spiritual work and meditation was a panacea, that it was able to cure all sorts of ills. So I would please start by just encouraging you to make sure that you're in good physical and mental health. Have all your vitals checked. Make sure you're working with a mental health practitioner if you're feeling that level of despondency, depression, sadness, because we all need help from time to time, and it is not weakness to admit that we need help. Second thing is, if you're feeling that level of what you're doing doesn't matter, I would encourage you to look at two things. One is purpose. What are you living for that's greater than you? Do you have a greater purpose that you're striving to achieve? Whether that's caring for animals, spiritual work, taking care of a loved one, donating time to charity, but do you have a greater mission? And then the second thing I would say is look at, do you have supportive community? It is so important that we feel connected and a part of a community, a group of friends, a tribe who love and support us and nourish us. And when we don't have that, how that tremendously taxes our mental health. So those would be the three things I think to make sure you start with. Make sure you're in good mental and physical health. Make sure you have a greater purpose of something you're living for, and finding that if you don't. And third, making sure that you have a strong sense of community and belonging. And if you don't have that, it's never too late to start. I know people in their 70s who are developing new relationships, new friendships, new partnerships. And so really taking the time to put in that work. I'll also say too, as 55 is an age where some people start leaving their careers, that also making sure that you feel like the work you're doing, in whatever capacity you're working, is impactful and meaningful, because that is also a really huge downer when you feel like what I do doesn't matter and how I spend my day ultimately doesn't matter. So those are just some beginning steps to look at, and then if all of that kind of falls into place and you still want more of some meditative help, let me know. Someone else writes, I am not very happy with my body. Not happy with your body, join the club. I think most of us are not very happy with our bodies. In fact, that is most likely going to be the topic of my edited YouTube video this coming week, is about body dissatisfaction. On my OnlyFans this week, I posted a sexy striptease, where in the striptease, I went through and talked about my issues with body dysmorphia and pointed out all the areas that make me feel insecure and the areas that I wish were different and how I feel unbeautiful in certain ways. And this is coming from somebody who people pay money to see without their clothes on. Right? I feel that way. Everyone I know feels that way, even including fitness models feel that way. And so when we feel that dissatisfaction, I really believe that we have to work on two things. One is finding acceptance and beauty where we are, which is a journey that we can all continue to cultivate. And the other is about making the changes you want to make, holding yourself accountable to it. I go to the gym 3 hours a day most days. I pay attention to everything I eat. I pay attention to my hormones and making sure that I have hormonal support to have the body that I want. I put a lot of energy to make myself be in a place where I can genuinely feel good about my body. But I also work on an energetic way to learn to love and accept myself as I am, acknowledge that I'm imperfect, acknowledge that I still have areas to grow, and realize that that is likely always going to be the case. So that's my advice. Both things. Learn to love and accept yourself where you are, do the spiritual work, and then also do the practical work of hold yourself accountable. Go work out, eat well, take care of yourself, do the things you need to do. So you guys will you'll actually be seeing an edited video in a couple weeks that I got the opportunity to try this machine at my doctor's office. I'm glad, thank you. I got to try a machine at my doctor's office that forces your core to go through like 20,000 contractions in 30 minutes, and it's supposed to help you get better abs. And as you can see, my abs are about the same. I still have one more session to go, but it's been a little disappointing. Yeah, we all struggle with it. Every single one of us does, especially gay men. So you're not alone, and you're not alone. We're all on that journey, brother. I want to thank you all. Thank you so much for your time, heart, and love and blessings. It is such an honor to share this time and space with you. One of the things is that I am a big believer that time and space are not real. They're an experience of this world. That time and space are not objective truths. And so even if you're watching this video 2 weeks later, or 2 years later, or if you're watching this in the opposite side of the globe, we can still connect in a very meaningful way. So I want to just say thank you for being part of my community, my tribe. Thank you for showing up and being here today. It is such an honor to get to share space with you and to share some moments with you. I hope this is helpful for you on your journey. If you have ever any requests for a topic for meditation or a topic for an edited video, I am more than happy to address them. But I'm sending you so much love and blessings. May you be well, may you be healthy, may you find joy in your life, may you find love in your life, may you find acceptance in yourself and delight in yourself and contentment and peace in yourself, through yourself, with yourself. May you be surrounded by blessings, may you dance in ecstasy, may you sing joyfully, and may you know that you are God incarnate, that you are here to experience joy and love, and it's such a blessing to share space with you. Thank you all. I hope you have a wonderful week. Enjoy your weekend. Happy almost spring. I know it's almost here. We can taste it. Beautiful time of the year. I'll be back, moved into DC hopefully next month. So I know at least one person on here said that they were local. So if you're in the area, feel free to let me know. I'll be trying to do more in-person stuff this year, both locally in DC and hopefully workshops and retreats, both in the country, maybe even abroad. So please stay tuned for more, hopefully coming soon. All right. Much love, guys. Take care.